everyone. So I'm here in Helm. It's a Polish town on the border between Ukraine and Poland. And it's one town that's right on the route between Kyiv and Warsaw. And so I just thought I would give you a look at what it looks like when a train comes in. You can see that there's a lot of volunteers here. We have a medic tent over here.
My name is Katelyn Ferral. I'm an investigative reporter for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. I'm on assignment with USA Today in Poland, covering the refugees coming across the border from Ukraine. So Poland, according to the UN, I believe, is taking about 50%, a bit more, maybe even 50% of all the refugees going across the border. I arrived here like the last Saturday in February. I flew into Krakow from Chicago, and I don't really know how long I'm going to be here. That depends just on a variety of things. I first traveled to Ukraine in the summer of 2013 when I was in graduate school. I had an opportunity to go there and teach English at this English immersion camp at a university near Lviv, and didn't have to pay for room and board. And so I went and spent a little over a month there. And after being in Ukraine, I actually completely changed my master's thesis and wrote it all about Viktor Yanukovych, their former president, who was ousted and fled to Russia during the 2014 Maidan protests. And so obviously the country had a real effect on me, and I was really struck by the people that I met, and I found them to have such soul and character.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of reporting at train stations, places where people are coming and going. A lot of these towns have now opened up refugee centers, and so you see people crying in corners of, sitting down in a train station crying. You see people who just look so tired. It's like they look like zombies, just this like shell-shocked expression on their faces. We had interviewed both of them after they had just arrived from Ukraine the night before. They were in Krakow, and so we met them at a hostel they were staying in. And when we asked Tamir what he remembered from the journey, he said, "Bombs, bombs, bombs." We see lots of mostly women and children without men with them, because right now Ukrainian men between the ages of 18 and 60 are barred from leaving the country. And so we see single, mothers who are alone and talk about their husbands who have stayed behind either to fight or volunteer or for a variety of reasons. Everyone, it seems, has left someone and a piece of their heart back in Ukraine. As far as the men that I've talked to who are returning to Ukraine to volunteer and fight, yes, they love Ukraine, and many of the men who are returning to fight are Ukrainians, and so they feel a soul tie to their country. I met a man from Turkmenistan, a former Soviet country, and I've talked to him and other folks I've talked to who are not Ukrainian, but are from other places in Europe, truly feel that their countries will be next, that Putin will not just stop at the end of Ukraine, and that what his crusade is about and what he is fighting for transcends the border of Ukraine, and that they're really fighting for democracy in the region as a whole. This is a scene from a train traveling from Lviv, Ukraine, to Krakow in Poland. It was just filled to the brim, people shoving to get on these trains. As you can see, they're is a woman playing the violin, serenading her fellow passengers who stood there for 19 hours. This kind of reporting is more exhausting than I think I anticipated. There's just a lot of dimensions to the trauma that folks are going through. It's an interesting balance for me to be in those places and find ways to approach people compassionately. How can I convey what's happening here in a way that has more staying power and that presents the nuance and complexity of it, rather than just the flash that sometimes can come when people rush into a conflict or a war zone like this. It's just important. I think it's important for people in Wisconsin and people just in general to read about what's going on in the world. And one small kind of nice thing I think about what's going on is just that people know a lot more about Ukraine and just the wonderful people and culture that they are more than ever before.
Milwaukee PBS, our story is you.